Get the injured back. I'm gonna clear the road.
This was an episode I was looking forward to writing much earlier. Our introduction to Mace Windu in the field. This was a great opportunity to show Mace be powerful in the Force as a very inspiring leader.
It was great to give Mace his own episode where he's leading the charge and he's responsible for these people, because you see a difference between the way Anakin was leading, the way Obi-Wan's leading, the way Mace is leading. You know, he used a little more power than some of the other Jedi. Rob Coleman, who directed it, had a great idea where Mace puts his hand up to the glass and it just shatters it.
A powerful warrior, but also a master negotiator.
With our forces stretched so thinly, I'm gonna enlist the help of the freedom fighters, led by Cham Syndulla.
Linchpin to the whole thing was Cham Syndulla.
We really wanted to have a clear message of liberation and solidarity with the Twi'lek people who were being oppressed.
They are not sold on the help of the Jedi at first. One of my favorite lines in season 1 was when Cham Syndulla says to Mace Windu,
"How long before I am fighting you, Master Jedi?"
It really poses an interesting question about how Cham sees the occupation of the planet by the Separatists and by the Republic. To him, it's just another army. Who is on the right side here? And characters like Cham Syndulla question that.
What can the Separatists hope to gain from burning our homes?
In the end, Orn Free-Taa and Cham Syndulla set aside their differences politically to save the people, which is what the Jedi in the end always want.
Men of Ryloth, the time has come to free ourselves!
I like Cham Syndulla. His gun is really similar to Han Solo's. It was just one of those sort of throwaway things. Cham needed to hold a gun, and he was a good guy. I just sort of took it as an excuse to sort of sneak the Han Solo blaster into the show. And it's fun to see someone shoot it.
You take these droids. I'll go find Wat Tambor.
In the Ryloth episodes, we get to see more of Wat Tambor. That's another character that is a legacy character, but it only had one line in episode 2, and it was played by Ben Burt.
The Techno-Union Army is at your disposal, Count.
And I worked with Ben, for 15 years, so I took a crack at doing it.
That Jedi does not have the troops to take this city.
Of interesting note, I don't know how many fans know this, Wat Tambor doesn't really have any feet. There are no legs in the ILM model either. We checked it. That's kind of an interesting thing if you look at it. So he kind of scoots along, which is, kind of fascinating.
Amir Tambor. Our bombers are nearly ready for launch.
Amir is just it was a name given to Wat Tambor by George to give him a level of prestige, a position of greater power. The idea that he is greedy, that he is looting this planet, that he doesn't care about the people. Wat Tambor just wants to get the golden run, basically.
It's not enough for the Separatists to enslave and murder us. They must rob us too.
As the treasure was loaded up to be taken to Wat Tambor's ship, they just thought it would be kind of funny to have a nod to Indy and include something extremely reminiscent of the Ark of the Covenant from Raiders of the Lost Ark in the treasure that's being dragged to Lesu to be taken away. It's a really nice paint job on that too. It was painted by Pushan Veneran. The Ark looks really shiny, but it's just strategic blobs of white paint. There's a lot of stuff in this episode. The road to Lesu, the winding sort of cliff path that leads to the capital of Ryloth, was a huge, huge set. Probably the single biggest set that was attempted at the time. We're a little older and wiser now and would do that as a matte painting or a projection painting, or find some way to deal with an environment that size other than effectively build the thing full scale and then hand paint it. It's a bit like building the Grand Canyon actual size and then handing 6 people inch-wide paintbrushes and telling them to paint the entire thing in a month.
There's a fantastic sound thing on that scene where the bridge shuts off.
Too bad for them.
Run for it! They're turning the bridge off!
We just kind of killed all of the music, and we just went to a very sort of echoey, Force-like moment with Mace.
Everything sounds slower or echoey as we're inside the focus of his mind. It was a great use of sound to accent a really exciting scene.
Now that Jedi is leading the attack.
There were a couple key images. One was the ATRTs getting the little chickens up and running around.
It was another one of those sort of design challenges because the script calls for them to appear out of an ATTE, and we had kind of accounted for all the space that was inside an ATTE, so exactly where these things were going to fit was kind of a question. And it was Russell Chong that came up with the answer, where there's this sort of telescoping platform that drops down out of the back section. Dave had always sort of intended to see these things move very, very quickly. You know, he likened them to velociraptors. He wanted to see them really sort of go over the terrain.
We had the hyena bomber.
That's right,
Which is
the
a
new-
new type of vulture droid that's much larger, that basically firebombs a town.
The hyena bombers were a Russell Chong design. They were very deliberately reminiscent of the TIE bombers from Empire Strikes Back. The basic premise was that these were sort of two-headed, bomb-dropping, bigger versions of the vulture droid. It's nice when they show up at the end and Anakin and Ahsoka show up, because we haven't seen them for, almost 3 episodes at this point.
Anakin comes in at the end of the episode, kind of to save the day, which hooks back to the beginning of the 3-parter.
Right.
That was close, Master.
Isn't it always, Snips?
Everything really came to a nice spot over these episodes. I think it's largely because, too, the subject matter is something the crew really wanted to do.
I thank you, Master Jedi. Today, all of Ryloth thanks you.
Everybody liked these ideas and these episodes and these characters a lot. And the Twi'leks are so classic Star Wars, to fans that grew up with it.